Alright, my name is Colt Webb, and today I'm going to be going over the basics of putting a golf ball. I'm going to go over everything you need to know if you're a beginner. I'll even have some tips for intermediate golfers. I'll have tips for not really advanced golfers because I'm not really an advanced golfer myself. But I'm going to start off the video by talking about the grip. Alright, so getting started, we're going to start with the grip, and this is going to be really important for beginners because a lot of beginners, you see them try to hold the putter like they're going to actually do a swing with their driver or with any other club. They will put the meat of their hand onto the top of the club right here, on top of the grip. And see, with putting, you're going to want to look at the crease in your hand right here in the middle, and you're going to try to get to put that crease right on the corner right here so that your thumb is going down the top right here so that the shaft of the golf club becomes an extension of your forearm. And your right hand, that's just going to go right below your left hand if you're a righty. So getting back to the grip, your hand, when your thumb is along the top right here, when it's flat and going down the straight line, that's going to create a wrist lock. That's going to be something that's going to help you keep your arms in line when you have to actually come into the clutch and make the shot. Now getting into stance. So when you start off your stance, you're probably going to want to start off about shoulder width apart. Now you don't want to get too narrow because that can keep you off balance and your center of gravity is just going to shift a little bit higher. Probably not going to be able to get that nice sound stance. So you don't want your stance to be too narrow. Now when you're getting your stance ready, you also don't want to be too far apart because that can be considered almost too athletic for this. So putting is more of like an art. You're not going to really want to powder your way through it. So when you have this wide stance, you're going to be a little bit more too powerful, if you want to say that. But you're just ready to do a lot of movement, and with putting it's kind of just staying still and staying calm and collected and just trying to get that smooth, fluid swing. Now, still with the stance, you can putt with whatever stance that you want to putt with. It's all about what's comfortable with you. But now getting into ball position, a lot of people say, hey, where do I want to strike the ball? What's the best position to strike the ball in? So you're going to want your ball probably close to centered as possible with your stance. And personally, my stance is a little bit wider than normal, but that's just me. So you're going to want to get that ball centered up, maybe even a little bit forward. You can have that a little bit off to the left or to the right if you're a left-handed golfer. So then you're just going to want to have that ball centered up and ready to go. So when you're putting, you're going to want to get that nice, smooth, fluid swing. And to get the ball to roll at its peak, you're going to have a nice end-over-end spin. And to do that, you're going to have the ball centered in between your legs or a little bit towards the front of your swing. And to create that end-over-end roll, you're going to have to make topspin on the ball. So getting in your position, ready to swing, you got your thumb running along the top, you have your hand, or your opposite hand, it's not on the club yet, positioned a little bit lower on the club. You got your feet shoulder width apart, and you have the golf ball centered. So to get that end over end roll, you're going to want to come back and have that putter head just maybe an inch or two off the ground. You're gonna keep it pretty low. And an analogy that people use for getting that nice fluid swing would be the grandfather clock. They say that just letting the putter basically just do this while you're putting is the way you should go to keep it nice, fluid, and straight. And you'll probably make a decent amount of putts with that. You'll probably be pretty consistent. You can't really just make yourself great like that though. You're gonna want to have that lower start off, come back smooth, and then as you're coming toward the ball, you're gonna have your head raise slightly, and that's gonna create the top spin of the ball. So as you're coming through, the head of the golf club is going to come up slowly. And with that angle, it's going to create more of a forward roll, and you're going to get the ball to peak. So that means that the ball is just going to be the best that it could possibly be, the straightest that it could possibly be, and the most accurate that you could have read it. Now, getting into another topic of putting, you're going to have to really focus, because the art of putting is that you have to do all this reading on your own. You have to look at the green and be able to tell if it's going to be a slow or a fast green. You're going to have to be able to tell if there's shifts in the green. You have to read if the ground is higher on some parts than others. All kinds of angles and hills, wind, anything can come into play. So when you're getting into reading that, you're going to have to, honestly, you see a lot of pro golfers get down in a squat position like this. You see them getting eye level with the ground, and that's a really good tactic because it lets you see how everything kind of plays out toward the hole. So if there's a dip, or if there's a rise, even a slant, you'll be able to see it all. Alright, so as you can see, I like to putt barefoot. Also, I mean, this isn't the best conditions. Obviously we're inside. We're actually in my friend's basement, so you're not going to get the real green read, but it's pretty close. Carpet actually does pretty well resembling with the green. So, to get started, let's just get in our stance that we talked about. Thumb straight, hand below. I'm going to keep the ball a little bit towards the front of my stance. Got my lower hand on the bottom. Feet shoulder width apart. And I have my arms straight and my knees are just slightly bent. So let's start making some shots. Alright, so I hope you like my video on beginning putting. If you put all these things together, you should be able to have a pretty consistent, fluid swing. And I hope you liked it.